And we're back with What Matters Most. We're here with Mona Laru. So, Mona, tell me, what makes a food organic? What are the guidelines? What makes that so separate than the regular conventional fruits, produce, etc.?
Another great question. Definitely a lot of parts to this one, but to keep it short and simple, to have something certified organic, it needs to be certified organic through the National Organic Program, otherwise known as NOP. So there's a series of 5 steps that any food item needs to go through in order to get that, that stamp?
Yeah,
that
sure. Yes.
Stamp of approval.
On the back, right. Or the front,
there's,
maybe. Right.
Yes. So that means that something is certified organic through the National Organic Program, and that will then give you that credibility of organic.
And it's something along the lines of, like, it has to be prepared at least 90% organic that makes it fully organic. Isn't there something along those lines with the percentages?
So if you're discussing a packaged item, there are several different guidelines surrounding those. It depends on what it is. If you are discussing produce or meat or chicken, those guidelines are going to be slightly different. But again, if something is certified through the National Organic Program, NOP, you can be assured that it is made in the organic matter. There will not be sewage sludge. There will not be genetically modified organisms. It will not be bioengineered, and all those good things that make the USDA organic standards valid.
And Mona, there's been recently, I kind of feel like there's been an emergence of what I would consider co-ops, and many of them are organic co-ops. Are there certain stipulations or restrictions that they have to adhere to get the designation of an organic farm?
And can maybe we also explain for people who don't know what co-ops are? Maybe explain
Sure,
what they are,
of course.
because not everyone is aware.
Right.
Okay, so 2-part question. So to become an organic farm, again, you need to go through, like I was saying before, the National Organic Program to get that certification. And there's 5 steps to that program. So in order to be labeled organic, again, those are the guidelines. As far as what a co-op is, a co-op can be many things. It can be a local establishment that provides organic produce that they have gathered from farmers.
Okay, sure.
Which is, yes, so that is a great way to save when purchasing organic items is a co-op. Another thing that has really become big is a CSA. Have you guys heard of this?
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, what does that stand for?
Okay, so a little bit of an offshoot of a co-op. So a CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture.
Got it.
Okay. And what does that really mean?
So what does it really mean? Great question. It means that you go to the farm, whether it be a produce, vegetable, or even poultry or meat farm, and actually purchase the items from that farm. So you purchase a share from a specific farm, and then you are a member of that area. So you purchase your items, or you get your items weekly from that specific farm.
Very interesting. So,
great way to save, guys.
But another way popping into my mind that maybe people can save if they are on a really tight budget, especially with this crazy economy, is maybe growing your own garden, right? Maybe buying organic seeds and doing it yourself.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. And even though we are moving into the winter seasons, you can grow lots of things inside. So get those packages of organic seeds while they're still available in organic soil, and plant some planters inside of things like herbs. You can even do lettuce, all great things to plant inside, and you'll save yourself a fortune and also be able to dress up some bland items with some seasonings like basil or thyme, any number of seasonings that you can grow inside.
Is the thing that's the most important to that is a lot of light? The herbs, do they need?
Yes, it will obviously depend on what you are growing. So something like basil is not going to need a ton of light. So if you just have it by a window that light does get shined into throughout the course of a day, that should be fine. You also want to manage the watering of it as well. So yeah, those are all great ways to save organically, is just to grow your own.
Do you have a suggestion? A lot of times people are out on the road and they're not always eating at home. Do you have any suggestion of restaurants that might be better than others? Do you want to be more conscious of, it's not so often that you find organic food at restaurants, but are there any kind of tucked away little places that might be better options than others?
That people wouldn't even think about, or and they'd go, oh my goodness, who knew that?
Right.
So I always recommend going into a grocery store when you can, if you're picking up something quickly, and looking for organic items. Some things that I recommend in the grocery store, as far as a quick meal that will not break the bank, will also be organic, not a list of ton of ingredients. Amy's burritos. Certainly need to read the back of the packaging, but that's a great option for on the go. And there's also several other varieties out there of organic products that I'd highly recommend. When you are out, what is the most important thing? That's a very good question. So going with things like leafy greens, holding the dressing, putting it on the side, ensuring that you don't have tons of cheese, bacon, all products that are going to be high in saturated fat, you want to stay away from. And also always holding that bread basket. Don't even have them put it on the table when you're out.
Oh, the bread basket, hold back on that.
Hold it. Just tell them you don't want it.
As compared to saying, could you bring us a bread?
Give me another one.
Moni, I'm sure you get a lot of people that say to you, oh, I would definitely go organic, but it's so expensive. I just can't afford to do it. So, and I'm wondering, is it a case of we pay now or we pay later? Maybe you can explain that a little bit.
That's a great point, and you've taken the words right out of my mouth. Do you want to pay for your health now, or would you like to pay for it later when you have cancer, when you have heart disease, when you have any number of diseases that are becoming associated with a lot of the chemicals being used on our foods right now? Another thing is, do we want to pay now or do we want to pay later? Take it a step further and don't eat out as much, and budget your organic dollars to making foods at home. So having So having your own organic pizza party with your family is a great way to spend a nice Friday evening with all organic ingredients, and you will know exactly where they're coming from because you are making the items. So eating out less and putting those dollars towards your organic grocery shopping, you'll find a significant difference in pricing there.
Do you suggest trying to eat less animal product?
I do. If you're not going to purchase organic meat, I highly suggest eating less. And one great way of starting is trying to do a meatless Monday. So every Monday, go ahead and say, I'm not going to eat meat this Monday, and make it a point to go with meals that are using other proteins like beans, tofu, nuts, avocado. There's a ton of great protein sources out there that are not animal sources. So yes, great point. Cut back on it when you can. Buy organic when you can, and it will certainly keep your bill down.
Wow. I was going to ask her because I was thinking about, I know we talk about replacement for protein, meat protein, and I would also have a concern though about there's so much soy in so many of the products that we have out there. Is there a difference, or is soy one of those items that we should really be selecting as an organic because of all the estrogen associated with eating soy? I mean, there's so
Or
many
does that have
every.
nothing to, but does that have to do with organic? Does the estrogen related to soy have to do with organic?
Well, I was wondering if it's better because if it's organic, then it's not as problematic.
I don't know.
I
Let's
don't
ask
know.
Mona.
Okay, so always go with organic soy products. Why? Because they're not genetically modified.
Ah, okay. See, yeah.
Speaking a little bit about the amount of soy that's in things, it comes back to one thing I always like to touch on is if you can eat whole foods that are unprocessed, make that your first choice in foods, and you'll eliminate a lot of those soy products that are in any number of vegetarian items out on the market. So again, turning the back of that packaging over, and even if it says natural, there are 10 products or more in it, don't go with it. I mean, I really even say 5 products or more, and can you pronounce them? So eating whole foods when you can. When I say whole foods, I mean things like organic fruits and vegetables, beans, organic grains, quinoa. Can you trace the source is a great question to just ask yourself.
Okay. And I know you've mentioned already a few times the genetically modified foods. Maybe you could explain what that means, because you see that GMO, right?
Yes. So, the short answer of that, a genetically modified food is one that has been, its DNA has been altered in a lab to produce a lot of something, or to also stay resistant to some of the chemicals and weed chemicals that they are spraying onto foods. A lot of things are in the works, though, with genetically modified organisms as far as labeling. So keep your eyes and ears peeled in the marketplace for it actually being labeled on products now.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I heard somebody reference the GMO and that they were so concerned about it. She was a person that was a raw food advocate. And I'd never heard of it before, but now the terminology is much more frequent. So I thought, if I don't know about it, other people may not.
So should we assume that if it doesn't say organic, it may have genetically modified? Is that a good assumption?
A lot of the
without a label,
times, yes.
right?
Things that are heavy genetically modified materials are corn and soy.
Oh, yeah.
So again, really encourage people to look at the back of packaging first and foremost, ask questions, and be informed.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's
So,
great.
Ramona, can you please tell us what matters most to you in the work that you're doing and the change that you're trying to bring about? What matters most?
What matters most to me is having people build that awareness on eating and having a mindful lifestyle. So eating whole foods, really honing in on what sort of weight management you're looking to do, and meditating daily really is what matters most to me. And seeing those changes in people is why I do my work. I am so incredibly thankful to be a part of individual journeys on that.
That's
That's
wonderful.
great. Thank you.
Beautiful, Mona. Well, if you do want to find out more information about Mona, please visit her website at nakednutritionnow.com.
And we'd like to thank everyone for watching our show. And as we conclude, we would like to remind you that the simple things in life are what matters most. Namaste.
Namaste.